Ryan Hall at the hospital for special surgery in New York. Unfortunately, he spent much of the past few years since his last fight 3 years ago in the surgery room, undergoing 19 surgeries during this period, including procedures for a torn ACL, plantar plate repair, and complications such as infections and allergic reactions to surgical hardware. Hopefully this 20th surgery is his final one. For a variety of reasons, his MMA career ends up sounding very peculiar because he's been fighting for over 18 and a half years and only fought 11 times in those 18 and a half years. DDP catching sharks, Khamzat Chimaev catching strays. Don't kiss it on the mouth? No way, that's what Khamzat tried, and look how that turned out. These two may fight if DDP gets past Strickland in February. Regarding the Ragged Tooth Shark DDP Cup, please tell me you released it. He says, no, I ate it.
Such a big fan of shark meat.
To the complaints I'm hearing from Australian fans about the card is ticket prices being too high, and announce the rest of the main card. They got 9 fights. I don't know what's on the main card other than the main and co-main event. You also got Nolan versus Borshev, Jenkins Santos, Tafa Teixeira, Salkiel, Jubilee, Saruya, Nickel, Krut, Prachnio, and Haddon Tupuria. UFC lightweight Mitch Ramirez tells me he's looking to fight early in the new year after being cleared medically for some of the things which he could not do previously due to a heart condition he's had for the last 4 years, which he says made it very difficult to train and compete at a high level. He's in a relationship with Cynthia Calvillo, who's no longer in the UFC but became the Hex Fighting Series champion in September. Hex Fighting Series out of Australia gained a lot of attention recently with Contender Series wins from Jonathan Makhachev, who got a contract with the UFC, Cody Haddon, who's taken on Tupuria's brother at UFC 312, and Navajo Sterling, who picked up a win in the UFC this month. Netflix successfully streamed its first live NFL broadcast on Christmas Day. The streams were of high quality with only minor issues, indicating Netflix has effectively addressed earlier technical problems. UFC's upcoming media rights negotiations has sparked speculation Netflix is a top contender. Industry experts highlight Netflix's recent success in live sports, including Paul versus Tyson fight, which drew 65 million peak viewers, and its improved NFL broadcasts. These demonstrate Netflix's ability to handle high-demand live events and its commitment to live streaming. Securing UFC rights would be a game changer, allowing the promotion to expand globally while cementing Netflix's place in live sports. A partnership would challenge traditional broadcasters and streaming competitors, making a bold move for both the UFC and Netflix. BYB returning to Cardiff, Wales on February 1st. Mike Goldberg does commentary for them, so it's just cool hearing his voice. He was a legendary voice for the UFC.
BYB Bare Knuckle returns to Wales for the first UK show of 2025 for BYB 36, Cardiff Brawl 2.
Vettori training with Yaroslav Almasov, who lost for the first time last year against Jason Jackson. Besides Vettori, there's one more Italian fighter on the UFC roster, Manolo Zecconi, but he hasn't fought in over a year, but he plans on returning soon. The 2 Indian fighters on the UFC roster fighting in February and March. Jubilee's taking on Salkiel at UFC 312 in February, and Pooja Tomar taking on Shauna Bannon March 22nd. The 1 Indian female fighter in one championship fighting February 20th in Qatar. Cody Stamann, fresh off a new hair transplant, is going to be moving up to 145. He's done with the bantamweight division. Zabit's still training. Some people say he's the biggest what if in MMA. Others say, what if he had 5-round cardio? As he struggled 3 rounds against Cater, so he would have had a tough time against guys like Holloway and Volk. Nonetheless, very good fighter and very entertaining and creative. Retired with an 18-1 record, only guy to ever beat him, Igor Igorov, who beat him in 2013 via armbar. Rizin flyweight title on the line on Tuesday with Horiguchi and Zulu fighting. And John Dodson says he wants to take on the winner. Dodson is currently the flyweight champion of BKFC too, so his post-UFC career is doing quite well right now. Current flyweight contender Roy Val says he wants this fight to be in front of a crowd. He tells me that he doesn't really see any positives to fighting at the UFC Apex. Some have alternative opinions. UFC welterweight Billy Ray Goff tells me he likes fighting at the UFC Apex. He'll be fighting Veretennikov there on February 15th. Miranda Maverick asking Jessica Andrade if you want to go to battle in April. I'll be back to full training in a few weeks and ready to go if you are. That'd be number 15 versus number 8 at flyweight. Andrade is 2-2 in her last 4, but still extremely dangerous on the feet, as Mackenzie Dern found out with that second round TKO loss. And Andrade has more bonuses than any woman in UFC history with 11. 6-0 WBO champion Mizuki Haruta takes on Maribel Ramirez Friday, January 17th at the Commerce Casino. It'll be live on UFC Fight Pass. Undefeated PFL fighter Brian Zerter said, "What I got for Christmas was a beating from Islam Makhachev in sparring." Makhachev and Nurmagomedov have been doing their camp at the UFC PI in Las Vegas. Intrepid Care Fight Night, April 13th in College Station, Texas. All branches of the military competing in that one. Ihor Potieria taking on Marco Tullio at the next UFC event. Tullio's over a 3-1 favorite. He's 12-1 and has won 8 in a row. Potieria dropped down to 185 a couple fights ago and started looking like Sean O'Malley. Roy Nelson spent Christmas training with Blagoy Ivanov and Sergey Spivak. Spivak takes on Almeida at the next pay-per-view, UFC 311, January 18th. That's number 6 and 7 in the heavyweight division. Michel Pereira is well known for his knockouts, but this year he had 2 of the 3 fastest submissions in the UFC. Number 1 was Luque with his 52-second submission over Temba Garimbo, choking him out. Number 2 and 3 was Michel Pereira, choked out Potieria in 54 seconds, and choked out Ola Sejic in 1 minute and 1 second. In the new year, Atlas Pereira is going to make her UFC debut at the age of 19. Vitor Belfort did that in 97 at UFC 12. Belfort won the UFC 12 heavyweight tournament. His explosive performances as a teenager is what really captivated audiences. Joe Lauzon's brother Dan Lauzon debuted at the age of 18 at UFC 64 in 2006. He became the youngest fighter ever to compete in the UFC. He fought Spencer Fisher, but lost by TKO. Fisher, unfortunately, is not doing well these days. Took too much brain damage in his career, but not in that fight. Sage Northcutt debuted at the age of 19 at UFC Fight Night 80 in 2015. Northcutt was marketed heavily by the UFC. It didn't work out as they planned. He didn't turn out to be the sensation they thought he would, and he moved on to one championship. Now he's going to move on to the PFL. Chase Hooper debuted at 19 in 2019. Hooper earned a contract through Dana White's Contender Series at age 18, known as the Teenage Dream. He won his UFC debut via TKO over Daniel Tamer, and he's blossomed into quite a dangerous fighter these days. And Raul Rosas Jr. debuted at the age of 18 at UFC 282 in 2022. He earned a UFC contract at the age of 17 after winning on Dana White's Contender Series.